Hello and welcome to another episode of Transcontinental Overload. I'm Stephanie, your host in Austin, Texas. And actually this episode should have been the last episode of 2021. But life happens. I didn't manage to finish it. So here it is as the first episode of 2022. This year is a special one for me, in terms of numbers at least. I am usually someone who's drawn to uneven numbers. Don't ask me why, I just prefer uneven numbers. But this year is all about symmetry, and you only get symmetry with even numbers. So, I mean, this might sound a bit crazy to you, but it occurred to me the other day that all the numbers this year are doing some special magic. So, I am 48 years old, and this year I'll have lived abroad, meaning outside of my passport country, Germany, for 24 years, half of my life. And out of those 24 years, I've spent 12 years, so half of that time, in the UK, and 12 years in the US. And those 12 years can be split into halves as well. I spent 6 years in California and 6 years in Texas. I haven't got a clue whether there's any deeper meaning in any of this. I just think it's a very curious fact. And who knows, maybe there is something special about 2022. All I can say is that I'm pretty excited for this new year. And not least because we're kicking it off with a major change. We are finally leaving Texas and are moving to the East Coast, to New Jersey, just outside of New York City. So for all our friends and family in Europe who haven't managed to come visit us in California or in Texas, now's your chance. This is it. Come on. We can't get any closer than New York, really. So get yourself on a plane. And yeah, it's also the other way around, obviously. It's going to be much easier for us to come to London or Munich from New York. And it's an hour less of time difference, which is always nice. Moving is always a huge deal, whether it's an international one or not. And those of you who've moved a few times know exactly what I mean. So not only am I surrounded by boxes and in the middle of organizing lots of stuff, it also means my mind is just not able to focus on anything. So it's this kind of limbo stage, which is exciting, but also exhausting. And it just means I haven't been able to focus on a podcast at all. As I said before, I'd been meaning to finish this season of the podcast before the end of the year, wrapping it up nicely and then focusing on a new podcast season in 2022. But I just have to be a little bit more forgiving with myself. And so I'm kind of using this episode and the different way it's being presented as kind of a sign of what's to come for this year. So I'm going to take this as an opportunity to let go of certain expectations. I'm usually someone who very much likes to stick to a deadline, works through lists until everything's done. You know, the sort of person who cleans the kitchen counters at night before going to bed, even if it's midnight, just so I don't have to deal with things and with unfinished business the next day. And this is now kind of different. So sometimes you just have to let go of certain ideals or plans, and that's probably a good thing. So I've decided to approach this year of new beginnings like that, with a bit more leniency and openness. And so here it is, my very belated last episode of 2021. My guest is another expat in Germany, Lawin from the Philippines. There are lots of tips and observations about Germany and the Germans in this episode, so if you're considering a move there, this episode's for you. So without further ado, let's hear Lawin's story. Hi Lawin, I'm really excited to have you on Transcontinental Overload.
Hey, Stephanie, thanks for inviting me. Definitely
Um,
is transcontinental.
it is very transcontinental, and actually, you're the second person in a row who an expat in Germany. I'm literally just
Huh.
editing an episode with another American in Germany. There seem to be a lot
Okay.
of Americans in Germany.
That
Why don't
is
you tell
true.
us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
are currently, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, sure. So I'm originally from the Philippines. I kind of moved to Europe maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. So like in my late 20s. I did my master's in the Netherlands, and then when I was looking for work, I kind of ended up in Germany. It wasn't really like my like first option, or so to say, but like for me, Europe is Europe, and the wage difference between the Netherlands and Germany is not. I don't
Mhm.
think there is a great difference. So for me, just being here is already already something special, and it didn't really matter which country like I would end up in. So I currently live in the city called Aachen, which is like the most western city in Germany. It's how I describe it to a lot of people is it is in between, literally in between Cologne and Brussels, but it's
Uh-huh.
right in the border of the Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium. So it's quite international in that sense that it is very yeah, it is in the border region, and we
Mhm.
have quite a good university here. So you have kind of like a lot of international students. You have a big Christmas
Nice.
market which is ongoing, which also draws a lot of
Amazing.
people from other countries. Yeah, it is, and I
Yeah.
like it.
I've never been to Aachen,
Uh-huh.
but I've heard really good things about it, and it sounds like it's for you coming from the Netherlands as your first European stop. It's kind of nice to be close to that because you can travel easily, right? You can cross borders quite easily and go on day trips.
Exactly, because I actually studied in Maastricht, which is just like
Mm.
less than an hour away from here. So I like previously before all my friends there left that city because it is also like a student city. I would go there quite frequently to
Mhm.
meet up with them. Now obviously that's not the case because they moved up north. Because in the Netherlands, all the most of the jobs are like in that region around Amsterdam, so they all
Mhm.
moved up north. But it's just nice to do day trips to the Netherlands or to Belgium, and that's how
Yeah,
I spend my weekends sometimes.
yeah. It sounds perfect.
It is.
Making the most of your time in Europe.
Yeah,
So what
definitely.
what field are you in? Your job?
Right. So I work I do like sales and marketing for a company that sells software.
Mhm.
And luckily for me, that company didn't require somebody to speak German because our customers are all outside of like. Well, we also have customers in Germany, but another person handles that, and I'm lucky enough to handle our customers from the UK or
Yeah.
Australia and Asia. So it's yeah, it was kind of lucky that I especially for smaller cities like you would expect that you'd only find jobs with German, but I was lucky
Mhm.
enough that I found one that didn't need me to speak it.
Yeah, amazing. Because it's not the easiest language to learn.
Oh
I would
no.
say.
Oh no.
I
Definitely
always
not.
feel really lucky that I didn't have to learn
Oh
it.
my god. It is tough.
How is it now? How's your
It
German
is.
now?
Well, I thought it was good enough. In general, it's good enough. Yesterday I had the other day I had an experience with a person in the what's it the foreign office, I guess,
Mhm.
like the Ausländeраmt. So
Ausländerbehörde. Yeah.
the Ausländerbehörde. So so I thought like I could get through just speaking German, but apparently it's still not in like normally it's enough when I go to the bank or I talk
Yeah.
to customer service, but
Yeah.
sometimes for some very special stuff like I find
Mhm.
myself like with question marks around my head, and you can see that the other person, or you can sense through the other person's like tone that she's getting quite annoyed with my German. So
Oh
it's
no.
in that level where it's like it's
Mhm.
okay normally, but sometimes I still need that someone to help me. So
Yeah. German is one of those languages that it takes ages to be able to just speak it. You know, when with English, you start learning it, you can speak it pretty much straight away. You don't
right,
have the vocabulary, but you can make a sentence and you can have a
right.
conversation quite quickly. And with German, you just need so much stuff first before you can even open your mouth. And so that it
Right.
just makes it, just makes it harder because you just want to get started, and it's not one of those languages because of all the
No.
cases and endings and um Yeah.
It's a very old language with a very like I'd say like a very wide vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody else says something
Hmm.
outside of like the common used words, then you're kind of like
Yeah.
scratching your head, you know?
Uh, let's wind back a little bit. So you
Sure.
came to Europe to study. What
Sure.
made you what made you decide to go to Europe?
Oh, yeah. 2016, I went to Europe for the first time just to travel. So I had a
Mhm.
friend that I met a long time ago in the Philippines. Oh, well, not in the Philippines, but in Asia, who was Dutch. So I said, I'll take a month off work. I'll visit you. I'm curious. I've never been outside of Asia at that point of time. So I had gone a lot around Asia, but never outside. So that was my first experience. I went to the Netherlands, this area, Belgium. I did like this Euro trip from where I was in Munich. I went to Prague and Budapest for a music festival. So that was like the journey I had, and I just fell in love with Europe because I went in summer. That was
Yeah.
August, and it was
Music festivals in summer in Europe. Yes.
exactly music festivals in summer in Europe, and just the feel of summer is everyone's
Yeah.
outside. The
Yeah.
sun goes down at 10. Everyone's like in party mode. People are
Mhm.
nice. If people are like smiling at you, small talking you. So I thought, this is Europe. Wow, it's amazing. Like, and
Mm. Yeah. As you would.
exactly. So I thought, like, what's the easiest way for me to move to Europe? Unfortunately, as a Filipino person, it's not as easy as it would be for, like probably for an American or someone from Japan with like a more powerful passport. It's
Mhm.
as easy as like, you look for a job, you get a job, you move. For me, it's really like you need to find a job that would pay you an exact amount of money, and they would have to like write some extra documentation for you to get accepted for the
Uh-huh.
job. And basically what that means is that they weren't able to find anybody else from Germany
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
from the Netherlands or from the EU with your qualifications,
Mhm.
which means that you have to be kind of qualified, which meant that to be
Mhm.
qualified in Europe specifically, lots of people have master's degrees and lots of people
Uh-huh.
have, even a lot of people have PhDs. So I was like, oh, okay, I need to
Yeah.
kind of up my skill. So that's kind of how I thought of, I just do a master's. It's not as expensive as it would be, for example, in the US or in
Yeah.
Australia
Yeah.
or in
That's
other
yeah. It's,
countries. It's a
mhm.
fraction of that, but for a person from the Philippines, it's still a lot of money. So that's kind of how I was thinking at that time, and because I fell in love with the music festivals and the summer, and these old cities like Munich, like
Mm.
Budapest, whatever. So I was like, let's go. I was kind of bored in the Philippines because I grew up all my life in Manila, lived all my life in Manila,
Mhm.
studied there, worked there, and it was kind of getting routine. So I thought, let's explore the world a bit. Let's gamble a bit on
Yeah.
life, and so
I know
here
the
I am.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you ended up in the Netherlands. I mean,
Right.
I hear it's a very they there's it's a very international student culture there anyway. So it's
Oh
I
yeah.
know that a lot of expats actually go or once they have kids, they then send their kids to the Netherlands. So I hear that again and again.
Right. Because all the master's degrees in the Netherlands are
Mhm.
automatically in English.
Yeah.
So that makes it a lot easier. Um so yeah, so that made sense for me. I knew somebody there, and at the same
Mhm.
time I didn't need to learn another language. And then now I'm in Germany. Now I need to learn another language.
And as we said, not the easiest one. So, what was it like moving to Germany, and what were your expectations? I mean, but living in the Netherlands, I guess you had people prepared you for it a little bit, because it's, I mean, some cultural similarities between the Dutch and the Germans.
Right, sure.
Um, so, was it like you expected it to be? What was the most surprising
Um
thing?
I think between the two, the biggest difference is that uh well, in the Netherlands, you get all your mail, all the advertisements are all obviously in Dutch. But whenever you talk to people, everybody's kind of like bilingual in English,
Mm.
or maybe even trilingual. They speak German as well, so like they're pretty good with languages. So that was quite easier because like if you call customer service, if you write
Mm.
emails or something, you can do it all in English. But when I came to Germany, it's like, oh man, like you really need to learn German. Like nobody prepared me for this. And a lot of people I had spoken to previously were like based in Berlin, and apparently Berlin is like its own. They have their own thing going on there where people speak English, but
It's
outside of
not, yeah,
Berlin, it's
yeah.
it's
They say that,
different.
but Berlin's not really Germany.
It's
It's
not
kind of
really
its
Germany.
little island in, in
Exactly,
Germany.
exactly. I mean, obviously, it's a bit harder to get into, but also
Hmm.
like now that I did learn German, I have a more, how do you say, like I appreciate the culture
Yeah.
a lot more, and that's something that a lot of people in the Netherlands don't really do because they don't really learn the language. Like I know
Hmm.
people who've been there even longer than me, and still now can speak like 5 words of Dutch. So
Yeah.
I think there's like pros and cons there.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. But I think, I mean, to me, it's always been, I guess it was easy because I learned English at school and then studied English as well. So then moving to the UK and the US wasn't that much of a stretch. But I'd like to think that if I was going to move to a country with another language, I would absolutely, definitely want to learn that as soon as I could. Because it just,
Yeah.
like you said, it's you get a whole different appreciation for the culture. And just so many things are just, they go beyond just being there. It's you just need to, the language just gives you a much more of a welcome, I guess, as well, because it just shows that you want to learn it, you want to become part of the country, really.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. And so what was it like the early days in Germany?
Oh man. So when I moved here, it was quite easy because I just lived across the border, so I just
Hmm.
commute when I did like my viewing, like of my house, of like where I would live. It
Hmm.
was quite easy because I was just commuting, and then you'd see how the places are, and apparently there's some strange stuff happening inside German like houses. So I do viewings and like there are no lights, there's no flooring, and then it's literally like they stripped down everything, and I was like, why does it look like this? So it was a bit of a culture shock for me to see like people removing like light bulbs and like the flooring, and then like the next tenant has to like
Yeah.
bring in everything, and even like the stove, like
I know
people
the kitchens,
bring out
right?
the
I know
kitchen and
that's,
like,
yeah.
why?
And so this is for people who've never been to or never lived in Germany. It's just that's normal. So for rentals, this is we're not talking about buying a place. We're talking about renting a place. So
Yeah.
you, and even if you just move in for a year or so, it's, yeah, people take everything and and people actually invest a lot of money as well in a rental place, which is
Yeah.
why if they buy a new kitchen, they take it with them when they leave. But it's so unexpected, really, I think, for people who haven't had that experience, because normally you think you move in somewhere and you have the basics are there.
Exactly.
Even maybe blinds and curtains sometimes are there, but not in a German rental.
Mm-hmm. Nah, it's not, has nothing. I needed to like figure out how, like,
Hmm.
especially for someone coming from abroad, like it's tough because you come with a suitcase with
Yes.
nothing, and then you come to a place you don't have anything. So what happened to me was I found a flat. Luckily, it had a refrigerator. It had its own kitchen. The problem is when I did the viewing, I didn't like check these stuff. Like I thought, okay, there's a kitchen. There's a heater in the bathroom. There's a heater like yeah, like in your
Hmm.
bedroom. It was winter. It was snowing. So this is a funny story. It was snowing, and I get a guy to take my stuff from Maastricht, which is in the Netherlands. I pay him like $100, take all my stuff to my new flat in Germany. Um, I get there, it's snowing, and then apparently so I didn't notice. Oh, there weren't any light bulbs. Okay, fine, no light bulbs, whatever. Um, the stoves, only one of them was working. And then the heater didn't work. We had those like old
Oh,
heaters wherein
yeah.
you turn on the gas and then like it ignites. Like you have to press some buttons and it ignites. And then like the water heater also didn't work. And obviously this is not all experiences will be like this. I was really unlucky for that place that I had found that I
Oh,
was
yeah,
stupid
yeah.
not to check these kind of stuff. So that was a hard lesson learned on my part. and I felt really depressed like my first month without lights, without, and I think I moved on a Saturday night, which meant
Oh yeah,
Sunday
of course you
everything's
did.
closed, right? So I was like, shit, how do I buy lights? And then I didn't have like the heating wasn't working, and like I just wrapped myself in like tons of blankets.
Uh,
And what I did was I went to the gym, and I got a membership, so at least I could shower there. You know, I could have a warm shower in the gym. This like survival instincts of mine kicking in. And then I checked, you know, so how do I get an internet connection? Because also like
mm,
the internet connection, like they disable, right? You have to open your own connection. So the electricity is pretty fast, but the internet like took a month. So I was like a month there without internet. So yeah, it was hard. It was hard. Nobody told me these stuff. So but what I did, like of course, like survival instincts me and
yeah,
coming from the Philippines, um I went to the mall every day because the mall had free Wi-Fi. So I was at the
yeah.
mall showering in the gym, and I'd literally just go home to like sleep in my coat. I bought a portable heater, and I was just that's just how. And luckily one of my stoves was working. So my flat had two stoves. One of them didn't work. One of them was working.
Mm.
So it was yeah, it was it was funny. It was when I tell people like that was my experience, but you know I've grown a lot after that.
You can handle anything now. But that yeah,
Oh,
that sounds like a very frosty start.
oh
And I
yeah.
guess also it's like you didn't have any friends at that point in the
Mhm.
city, right? But
Oh,
that you could have.
I had one who was my classmate because he was
Mm,
living here and commuting,
yeah.
um, but not so close. So I just asked him for advice, but he didn't. We weren't like super friends that he'd like
Yeah.
come to
Yeah,
my
he didn't
place and
say
help me
come
out.
around. Oh
Yeah,
God. Yeah. Well, those experiences make you stronger
for
and
sure, for sure.
um yeah,
So when you move in, check everything. Check the heating. Check
yeah.
the water
And
heater.
and just expect to have nothing.
Yes. Everyone I talk to are quite surprised. So, a lot of people I actually know who move in, even though they're
Mm,
working, they choose to live in like a vige or like a shared like space,
hmm.
shared living space with other people, so that at least it's fully furnished before they look for a flat.
Yeah.
So that's pretty smart. I never thought of that, and maybe I should have considered that as an option.
Yeah, and it's all I think it's a really nice concept, I think.
Oh
And it
yeah.
seems to be, and I know that that goes for the whole of Germany really, and that's like no one in their early 20s actually moves into their own place. I mean, most people start out with a VG, the yeah,
Yeah.
living living with other people, and it's actually a neat
Right.
way to get to meet people. But I
Yeah.
know that it also exists for people in their 30s. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
just, young people. It's like as you get older, people do that too, and it makes total sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if you were lucky enough to live with other local people, then obviously you get a deeper connection
Mhm.
with you know other locals. So I think it
Yeah.
would have been
So
a good idea.
mm, so you had your job to do that, to connect with people, and how did that go?
Oh, right, with my job. So I did mention I worked for an IT company, right? And I think it this is a worldwide thing that I won't say everybody in IT, but a lot of people in IT are quite um say nerdy or I don't know, like kind of
Antisocial is what you wanted to say.
ah sure. I don't know how to say it in a good way, but
uh,
so
yeah.
that's just my
Not
company.
let's say not the most outgoing or the
That's the
most
good way to
sociable.
put it. Exactly, not the most outgoing. So I found it also a bit hard, like during office hours, during work, like
Mm.
it's fine. But outside, I found it a bit hard to kind of bring people outside. And at the same time, I also work for a kind of old company, so there's a lot of like older people. Um, so yeah, I mean they have their families. They won't hang out in the city center on a Friday night, you know, because they have
Hmm.
kids. So
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Did you think that was quite different to back home, like thinking back to the Philippines and working
Oh,
culture and
sure. Like 180 different. Um, First of all, like the working people in the Philippines are all young. So whenever like you're in a team or something, you always find people like starting in their early 20s, mid 20s, 30s. Um, but in Germany, like I think the working age is a bit older because yeah, obviously like you had more people after the war, and now there's like people are having less kids. And yeah, and it shows also like it manifests also in companies. So you see a lot of companies with like
Mm-hmm.
a bulk of people, like I don't know, now who are in their 60s and
Mm-hmm.
less in their like mid early 20s. Also has something to do, I think, with the education system taking long. So
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, so that's one, like the age of people. I'd
Yeah.
say like now I'm in my early 30s and I'm one of the youngest in the company. But in the Philippines, if you're in your early 30s and you join a company, you're gonna be like, you know, middle or even a
Mm-hmm.
bit older than everybody else. And second is this concept of you know, work and your life being here. It's very separate. A lot of people like tend to separate that, which obviously has its pros, and obviously the cons are like you
Mm-hmm.
don't really get to hang out with other people. While in the Philippines, it's just natural that on a Friday
Yeah.
night it's reserved for office mates. Like Friday night, you know, I won't even tell whoever, like my girlfriend, if I would that I'm gonna meet her on Friday. Like that's automatic that I'd hang with my office mates and she would hang with her office mates. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of like sacred. And you know, like also during lunchtime, like you
Mm-hmm.
grab a you go to a restaurant or whatever, you grab like a sandwich and you eat together. So this is the norm. But I think in Germany, like people are quite like efficient also with their time. So a lot of people are just working while eating, or they just grab a quick sandwich and you know take a 30,
Yeah.
I don't know, like whatever, 10 to 30 minute break. In the Philippines, people are taking their time. Sometimes even extends to like an hour and a half or something,
Mm-hmm.
and people just be talking and stuff. But yeah, people also here get off a lot earlier and you know can go back to their
Mm-hmm.
families and hang out with their kids.
I think it's just a very big part of German culture to keep it separate, and
Yeah.
so to have that balance, right? The work
Mm-hmm.
life balance.
Right. Right.
Germans are they always have hobbies as well, and just
Mm-hmm.
things and sports and stuff that they practice, and they really do, rather than um yeah, working. I mean, I don't want to say Germans don't work long hours, but there's definitely a big emphasis on making sure that you have a life outside of work.
Which is the
And
nice
I
thing about it.
think exactly. So it's healthy. It's much healthier.
Exactly. Exactly.
And looking at, for example, the Americans
Yeah.
and the British as well, where it's just they have much more of a, especially the Brits have the going to the pub after work kind of culture. So
Right.
and work and life kind of blends, and sometimes it's you have some of your colleagues are friends, and it's a big part of working culture.
Definitely. But I like how like I like obviously German people also work long hours, but people are more efficient at work, and
Mm.
they don't like dilly dally or whatever. Like they do the work and then they want to go home early to their kids or whatever, or do
Mm-hmm.
their hobbies like you mentioned. And everybody has like a hobby. And actually, if I think back in the Philippines and the people I know, a lot of people, if you ask them what's your hobby, like, oh, I just hang out with my friends. Oh, I just go for drinks. Like people don't actually have like legit like hobbies. Like
Mm-hmm.
people here in Germany with hobbies, kind of like almost semi-professional or whatever in little things that they do. So
It's
it's yeah, and
yeah.
I think that's the beauty of Germany is really in the work culture and how the work life balance, how they built that, how they built like work around the life of a person and not like taking over a person's life. The fact that you have whatever 28, 29 holidays a year, and
Mm-hmm.
then also like a, it's not normal that people are pestering you after office hours.
Mm-hmm.
In the Philippines, I remember how we used like our version of WhatsApp. Like every project would have like its own like WhatsApp group. So you have
Mm-hmm.
different projects, different WhatsApp groups, and it's just every day, every couple minutes, like it's ringing. Like a group will enter. Office hours is it's already after office hours at 10, 11 at night. Like it's still ringing, but in
Mm-hmm.
Germany, like you don't
Yeah.
get anybody like messaging you at 10 or 11 unless it's super super urgent, which is understandable. So I that's one
Yeah.
thing I really came to appreciate.
Yeah. It sounds like you don't miss that from
Yeah.
the Philippines.
No, no, no.
um, but what do you miss? What what don't you get in Germany now that you do miss from back home?
Right, so that's a interesting question because I was just back in the Philippines last week, so I just got back on Saturday actually,
Hmm.
and and I reflected a bit on my experience there because I was there for like 5 weeks.
Hmm.
And obviously you have your family there. I have my family there. I have my friends there, and I
How often
guess
do you go back normally, or
once
has
a
it?
year I try to,
Yeah.
at least like in November, December. Like when it's winter here, I go back like for a
Yeah.
month just to break the
Nice.
winter. um, but I like how like social circles develop in the Philippines and how easy it is to kind of hang out with other people, and that also has
Hmm.
something to do with the geography of the Philippines. In Germany, you have a lot of cities that have jobs. In Philippines, there's literally
Hmm.
like one or two major cities. So everybody from uni or everybody
Yeah.
from your childhood will just be in one of those two cities, and it's quite easy to hang out with people. But Germany's big, and there are opportunities everywhere. So even for a German person, you have friends scattered around the country. So it's not so easy to just hang out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you enjoyed that, going back and just saying, "Hey, I'm
Oh,
in town," and
I'm in town. Let's schedule. Like I had to schedule my evenings, my lunches. Like I'd meet somebody, at least one person for lunch or for dinner every day, and I didn't even go out of town anymore to go to the beach or whatever. But I just spent time like hanging out with people, eating a lot,
Mhm.
gaining some weight. But yeah, I mean that's the Philippines is a lot about like um socializing. As I said, not a lot of people have hobbies. So
Mhm.
people's hobbies is like socializing.
Other people, their friends. Yeah.
They're
That's a
friends,
good
basically.
that's a good one. That's a good one. And do you find that socializing is very different in
Oh,
Germany? It's like when it comes in, that's not not talking about work, but talking about
sure.
friends
Just
and
general.
making friends in general, socializing. What would you
Yeah,
say?
I'm still in the point where it's all like I'm still an outsider, basically, because of obviously the language barrier is there,
Hmm.
but also because I feel like a lot of German people have already like built their lives, and it's hard for them to kind of accommodate a new person into their
Hmm.
lives. So they have like a really close group of friends
Hmm.
from high school or from uni, or like from their whatever their hobby group, like the Verein. So they have that close knit group, and
Yeah.
as much as I'd like to hang with them, like I don't think I'll ever get accepted into that. So um I think, well, personally, I also don't have a lot of like German friends.
Hmm.
Um, Also because I live in a student city, so a lot of people who are my age would not live here, because it's all
Okay, so they'll go
students.
to uni and then they'll go
They'll
and move to
go to
other
Berlin
places.
or to
Yeah.
Frankfurt or whatever. So yeah, I find it quite difficult because of those two factors, I'd
Hmm.
say.
And yeah, I mean, I've heard this before, and I mean, it's not only Germany that's like that, but
Yeah.
in general. And I'm finding as you're always an outsider, regardless of if you move to a new country, you will be an outsider to start with. And um, I mean, here, for example, it seems to be much easier to make connections with people, but they don't necessarily go very deep. So there's like a difference. So people are very happy to accept you as a temporary friend and hang out. But then if you say, "Oh, I'm not coming," or it just kind of fizzles out, that's totally fine too. So people are a lot more like, "Hey, I'm if you can make it, great. If not, okay." And whereas I feel in Germany sometimes it's much more serious. So if you
All
do,
right.
people are much more like, "Do I invest time and effort into this?" That kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's just there's just a difference, and always helps to. It's like once you're
Yeah.
in kind of with one person, then it's easier to make friends.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think I'm still in that phase wherein obviously my German is not as good, and also I live in this city, but maybe if I'm like in a bigger city where there are more people like
Uh,
working or something, and
yeah.
then my German gets better, then it should be. I'm hopeful that it should be easier.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you mentioned your girlfriend. Is she German?
Yeah, so my girlfriend's German, but
Okay.
she's also not from this city.
Mm-hmm.
So she also doesn't have like her group of friends here. And her group of friends are like scattered around the country as well. We're both kind of in our, like, we have our own bubble here.
Yeah. And it's, we always make friends with other expats and other people
Yeah,
who have that experience. I think that's what you hear from it's like every single person I think I've
sure,
talked to for this podcast has said that
sure.
they have other expat friends, and that's the
Definitely.
beginning. So it seems to be just that shared experience is wherever you go, that's just that's what people do.
Or could be a local person as well who has traveled a lot, right? So that,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. um and yeah, like you said, the student towns are always great for a while.
yeah,
So would you say, just trying to phrase this right, in your relationship with your German girlfriend, what would you say are the biggest
sure.
differences? So I mean, do you feel
Ooh.
like you have more access to German culture
Oh, definitely.
through her, and have you picked up on things? Because I mean, you can't help it, right? You get a glimpse into things, or you,
Right.
sometimes you're confused by stuff that your partner's doing. um can you think of any things where you're like, this is so different?
Oh, there's a lot. Where do I start?
Yeah.
um, right. So, um, yeah, I'd say in general, like in Germany, especially the people now, there's not really a big difference between like the role of like guys and women. Like it's more like equal. So in Philippines, it's more traditional in a sense that,
Mhm.
even though you're both working, like the woman is kind of still expected to do a
Mhm.
bit more in the house, whether that's to cook or to clean or whatever. So lit, and sometimes I feel like I'm the in a traditional sense like the woman in our relationship. So I do like more of the cleaning around the house, more of the cooking. So like in the Philippines that would kind of be weird because
Mhm.
we both work very similar in the similar industries.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I'm more of like the house person. Uh yeah, I mean it's and if I and then when I told this to my mom, she's like, "Really?" Like, "Oh, that's," she couldn't like understand like, "Oh, that's a thing." But it's like, "Yeah. I mean, there's no real difference here between yeah, there's
Mm.
less and less of a difference between men
Yeah.
and women, right?"
So how was but your girlfriend has met your family and been
Sure,
to the
yeah.
Philippines with you?
Yeah, yeah. I brought her back in 2019.
Mhm.
And yeah, for her that was a big eye opener because she's never really traveled outside of Europe.
Mhm.
And this is something really funny that she told me before she went with me there. So I was telling her, you have to kind of prepare your mind for the Philippines because it's not a bit different, but it's like really really different. So in Germany, like you have poor people, but the poor people, like, they're not dying poor. Like they're like poorer than you, but like they're yeah, they're not gonna die. But like in the Philippines, like you really see like poverty. You see people with like nothing.
Mhm.
Um, and she said like, "Oh, actually, I've seen poverty because I went to Greece," and I'm like, Greece is still pretty good actually." And so yeah, it was a big eye opener for her because she saw a lot of like these things and how inefficient um
Mhm.
other countries are compared to Germany. Obviously, a lot of stuff in Germany, like work, like clockwork, like literally things really like function. And in a lot of other countries, like they just don't. And you just have to
Yeah.
be patient with traffic. You have to be, patient with the system. And as
Yeah.
a German, I think it's a bit hard to, be patient. You know,
Yeah.
and I think she got quite shocked when because I was with a friend and my friend got caught like on a wrong turn, and then he just like paid the cop. That can still happen there, and she was like, "What's how does that happen? Like, what's this? How does that work?"
Yeah. How do you live? How do you live like that? How can it
Like
how
the
can a
whole
country?
concept of like
Yeah.
corruption to a cop.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I sometimes uh living in a place like Germany, and I count like France and the UK like that as well. People complain a lot about stuff that,
Oh,
you
right.
know, wouldn't
Right.
be yeah, in other countries it just wouldn't be anything that people wouldn't even think to complain about stuff not
Right.
working. That's yeah.
That's one thing I've I kind of got used to here. Like people
Hmm.
kind of complain a lot about like nothing,
Hmm.
and I think that goes to show how good a lot of people's lives are. So I think it's a healthy sign. And when and this is also like a heated topic we always have because my girlfriend likes to talk politics, like politics in Germany. Obviously, because I live here, I know what's going
Yeah,
on to some extent.
yeah.
And she complains a lot, and then I'm like, actually, it doesn't really matter because whoever wins in the whoever wins in
Oh,
the like in the recent election, like the
yeah,
country will not be like super different from what it is now. You know, like it might have some differences, but in the end, like everyone will have kind of like a
yeah.
similar
It's
life,
that's so true, isn't it?
right?
Depending on how you where you stand, I think some things you consider more drastic, where in other countries that wouldn't even register.
Yeah. So in the Philippines, literally, like you go outside, you see people like you see people begging on the street with no clothes and like why don't they have clothes like because they
Hmm.
can't buy
Yeah,
clothes and like the beggars here like oh they get like support from the government and they have like nicer clothes than me sometimes and I'm like how's that possible. Like, I don't understand. So yeah it was a big shock for me as well to see how it works here but
hmm,
it's also a sign of how like healthy the whole like system is
yeah. The welfare
the
state.
welfare state. Exactly. And it's amazing. I understand why it's there, and I understand why it works,
Hmm.
and it's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is your favorite thing about Germany?
Ooh. Because it's Christmas, I'd say Christmas markets. I love the Christmas markets. I love and one thing I really love about Germany is the bakeries.
Ah, yeah,
There's like
yeah.
really I don't know why. Sorry to like people from France listening, but like there's this concept, like there's this perception of like French bakeries and stuff, but I don't know. There's something really different about German bakeries. Like, there's just so much going on there that I don't even know the name of like different stuff there. But at the end of the day, they're all pretty good. So,
Yeah. What's your favorite thing?
from a Schnecke,
In
like the Schnecke,
oh, uh-huh. Oh
yeah,
yeah, how would you even
I don't
it's
know.
like a
It's like
yeasty,
a
sugary, cinnamony,
yeah,
like little swirl,
yeah,
pastry
yeah,
swirl.
yeah.
Um, oh yeah, delicious. I know I mean the whole topic of bread is very heated.
Oh, sure.
But I think just the variety of bread is,
I
I
think
mean,
it's exactly it's about the variety. It's about being surprised every day. And also I think different times of the year there's like different stuff going on and like I
yeah,
don't know, it's for me
yeah.
it's always a surprise, you know.
Yeah, it's a big part of the culture, the food culture, and just bread is such a staple food. And even it's like people have that for dinner, right? Like bread
Mm,
and cheese and like cold cuts and as
right.
a meal. And
Yeah.
so bread has to be of really good quality. And it's yeah, I miss that sometimes. That and it's something I do when I go back to Germany. I just love going to a bakery and
Oh,
just kind of like, oh my god, where do I start? What should I?
exactly.
Uh, yeah,
And it's pretty affordable. Like it's affordable, but it's
yeah,
really like really high quality. Like
mhm,
when I first saw it from the outside, it's like, oh shit, things might cost a fortune here. And then you find out, oh, a couple of euros, like, and then you find out you're there every day.
yeah, yeah. I want bread now. Let's change the subject. All right. So, is there anything that you do now, or that you feel like since moving to Germany that you do now that you never used to do, but now have become kind of part of who you are, and that
Oh
maybe
yeah,
people, when you come back to the Philippines, people are like, "Hey, what happened to you?
oh yeah,
You've become German."
definitely. I think the most noticeable difference is that, like on my smartphone, I start putting like calendar entries for dates and stuff. I never used to do that before. Like even our podcast, this episode, I put a
Yeah.
calendar entry on my phone. And when we did our first talk when I was in the Philippines, I didn't. You know what I mean? Like the mindset, like because I was there, like it changed. But like I never do this, and now
Mhm.
like my calendar, like my phone calendar is like filled with stuff, and some of them are just like hang out with
Mhm.
this guy, hang out with this guy. It's not even like officials work or podcast related stuff. It's just like small stuff, and I still put them on my phone.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that's just getting older and
Is that
more
no? Nobody does
forgetful.
that in the Philippines.
Oh,
Nobody does
really?
that. No.
So you've become more organized. What do you think if I asked your girlfriend, if I asked her what the
Oh,
most German thing about you is, what would she say?
wow, that's a good question. Like, if you asked her what the most German thing about me is, probably like my diet. Like we mentioned the
Hmm.
bakery. And obviously as an Asian person, like rice is my staple. And and actually I don't eat that much rice anymore.
Hmm.
So that's a sign of me becoming more European in that sense that like I'm giving up rice, one of the most, beautiful things from God. And now
Yes,
just eating a
I
lot of
love
bread and
rice.
potatoes. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I still cook it when I do, but
Yeah.
like I can live without it. Like
Okay.
yeah.
What
Sorry.
anything else you can think of?
I'm trying to think of something that kind of shows that I've become more German, but more.
What would you say has your girlfriend changed a little bit? Has she adopted some more
Oh
Filipino things from you? Because I know you're not living in the Philippines, but obviously, living together. Um,
yeah.
what kind of things does she do now?
Oh, actually, we have more Filipino friends than German friends in Aachen.
Uh-huh.
Just because the community of
Interesting.
Filipinos here are
Yeah.
very small, but
Mm-hmm.
it's very tight knit.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, and one of the things that I was surprised because my girl's she's quite shy, or she was
Mm-hmm.
quite shy. And she kind of got to like karaoke, and karaoke is like a thing in the Philippines. Like everybody does karaoke. Everybody can
Yeah.
sing to a certain level. And now she's like inviting Filipino people over. Hey, let's do karaoke. She's singing Filipino songs even though she can't understand them, and that's like really
Oh, I love that.
Filipino to do. It's amazing.
That's
Yeah, I'm
that's
I'm
great.
surprised sometimes. Like when I was in the Philippines and she was here, she said, "Oh yeah, we went to this person's house, Filipino person,
Yeah.
and we sang karaoke. I was singing Tagalog songs, and it was like, wow,
Whoa.
amazing. How's that? Like I can't imagine that. Yeah,
It's not a very German thing, is it?
no. A lot of people are shy. Like
Mm,
cause like the karaoke in Germany is a bit different because you have like these pubs where you have to stand up in the
hmm.
middle and sing in
Hmm.
front of everyone. While in Asia, you have a lot of like your own rooms where
Hmm.
you can just sing as a group. Um, but here, like if you ask people,
Yeah.
hey, come on, let's sing up the stage. Like a lot of them will say, no, I don't want to. Like I'm shy, I can't sing or whatever. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
so not a lot of people do
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
That's interesting. But also maybe her feeling more comfortable with non-Germans.
definitely for sure.
It's one of those things. I feel like sometimes it's for us slightly, and of course we're not all shy, but there is a certain
No, no,
reluctance sometimes to put yourself out there. I think, and that's just to do with culture,
sure.
I guess, and then personality, of course, too. But in general, I think Germans, it's easier to come out of our shells when we're not with other Germans, but with other cultures.
Oh, that's a
I've
good.
kind of felt that
Never
because I
thought of
see it with
that.
myself. I'm much more outgoing um, outside of Germany. So
And
it's
why do you think
it's
that
a
is?
I don't know. I just think there is this thing in German culture. Germans like to do things correctly and properly, and there's a lot of depth always to whatever. The Germans are not very light-hearted in general, so it's always they like to discuss things in detail and know exactly how
Oh,
things work and why things are the way they are and all that. So it's
right.
maybe there's less of a willingness to look like a fool. I don't know what it is, but there is
Ah,
something that I've I've observed with, in Germans being outside of their home countries seem to be a little bit less
That's a good
stiff.
observation. Good
Just to kind of,
observation.
I like I said, I've observed it with myself,
Uh-huh.
and I'm still not the person who will jump up on the table and sing karaoke. Maybe one day.
Hey, hey. I, I,
Yeah.
I I know a karaoke place in Dusseldorf with like their own rooms, so you know a
Hmm.
place.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely exists, and usually people
Yeah.
love it when they actually do it. But yeah, that's interesting.
Uh-huh. It's that first song that they just need to get out there and
Yeah,
you know
it's
get
like,
comfortable a bit.
what's your favorite karaoke song? You say you sing Filipino songs, but do you have a an international one that you sing, like a super cheesy one?
Oh, I sing a German one sometimes.
Mm.
Moscow, Moscow.
Oh yes, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's a good karaoke song. That's a good German karaoke song.
And then you get everyone going, hey,
Oh yeah.
hey, hey.
Oh yeah, definitely,
It's that one,
definitely.
isn't it? Yeah. That's
Genghis
so
Khan.
funny.
Genghis
Yeah.
Khan. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God. Now I'm having like flashbacks. That's so funny. Yeah, that's some good. So what about music in general? I mean, going completely off topic now, but you mentioned
Sure.
music festivals, and going
Oh
to
yeah.
music festivals in Europe. What would you
Hmm.
say about like German music scene? Because there are some things that
Oh.
are just really
Oh.
German, and they don't really go outside of Germany because they're
Oh
sung in
yeah.
German. And
Right.
or have
So
you
so I
noticed like a change, or what's been your like moving to Germany, and then what do people listen to?
yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people listen to like German hip hop
Mm-hmm.
and the music videos are really like strange. Like for me, I'm not really a big hip hop fan, so for me, I also
Mm-hmm.
don't listen to hip hop. But I find the music videos sometimes like silly, absurd. But in general, like Germany has like good music. There are like good DJs coming out of here. Also good
Mm-hmm.
indie music. But the thing is, like a lot of the indie music coming out of here is in English. So they're German
Yeah.
artists, but they sing in English. But like there's some cool German bands that I
Mm-hmm.
like Bilderbuch,
Oh, I haven't
like
heard of
from
them.
Austria. Like some like there's some like really good German bands that sing in German, but a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the more known ones actually sing in English, and you won't notice that they're actually German. But
Yeah.
I'd say like a lot of people, you know, they listen to like hip hop. That's my assumption. A lot of people listen to hip hop.
Yeah. So German language hip hop.
German
Yeah.
language hip hop, which not really my thing.
What kind of music are you into?
I really like indie rock. So
Mm-hmm.
I went to like Rock am Ring in Nuremberg,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a big rock festival, like I think in 2018
Mm-hmm.
or something. But yeah, like once in a while you get a couple of good like German bands. Not all of them are known. Everyone just knows Rammstein, but like there's a lot of like other
Yeah,
like
that's
good bands coming out of Germany. Right?
that's
Everyone's like, "Oh, Rammstein."
the first
Like,
one
yeah.
that mentioned Germany, and people will say that, and it's like, yeah, okay.
I mean, they're good. Like they are good, but like there's other names as well, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I like listening to German music sometimes, just because the lyrics sometimes are really good, and they don't translate. You know, I never used to listen to German music when I lived in Germany. I just didn't. It wasn't really my thing. But so I
Hmm.
did the whole Schlager thing. I wasn't
Oh my
really
god,
into
yeah.
at all.
Oh,
Although it's the best party music, right? And
oh,
everyone
right.
always. But yeah,
Schlager.
that wasn't my thing. But it's its own subsection. I think if talking about German music, you can't
Sorry, yeah,
miss.
you're right. Yeah, like Schlager is the thing. Like Schlager, like Helena Fischer, like all of these, that's German music, but also like carnival music. At least where I live, like, oh
Yeah.
my God, like carnival music. But you know, I mean, it's not so bad when you're drunk. Like, let's put it this way.
I love that. That's the best. That's the best way to describe Schlager. I love that. Very true. Yeah. Mm. I know my husband, when he came to Germany the first few times and hear Schlager music, like, what the hell is that? It's like, no, just have a few more beers. You'll enjoy
Yeah,
it.
then it yeah, you enjoy it exactly.
But also great karaoke music, you know, Schlager.
Oh, right. Sure, sure,
Mm-hmm.
sure. That's true. That's true. I should look for my song, my karaoke Schlager song.
Oh
I have not
yeah,
found
yeah,
it.
yeah. Very. I'd love to see that. Oh, it's been really fun talking to you, Lowen. I always ask this at the end of a conversation.
Sure.
Is there anything that you do when you miss the Philippines? You feel like you need that connection? Is there any food that you make or buy or any tradition,
Oh,
anything like
right.
that?
Yeah, so when I miss the Philippines, well, the two things I do, it could be three. Well, one is I obviously I phone my family, my mom and my sister. My sister has a kid now, so I like seeing the baby
Mm.
on the video call. Or I hang out with my Filipino friends here in Aachen. So as I mentioned, we have a small community. But the easiest is really just to cook. So this is specific Filipino food. It's called chicken adobo, and it's like I'd say our flagship dish. And it's like soy sauce and vinegar, chicken
Mm-hmm.
like marinated in soy
Oh,
sauce
sounds
and
good.
vinegar. It's
Yeah.
quite simple. And I make that, and pretty much everybody I've had try it. My girlfriend's
Mm-hmm.
parents or whatever, everybody loves it. So when I miss the Philippines, like I
Yeah.
would cook this
Yeah.
and phone
That sounds
somebody.
delicious.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love the bread, as I mentioned, but sometimes it's something from back home. When you smell it, it
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
opens up all these old memories or like
Yeah.
yeah feelings.
So true.
Yeah.
Mm. So you're staying in Germany for now?
Oh yeah, for now, for the I don't know medium. I don't know for how long I'll be here, but so far, as I mentioned, I really like obviously the work life balance is what I like the most.
Mm-hmm.
The bakeries, those two things. I like the fact that Europe is it's not just Germany where I live in, but it's like I'm a citizen of
Yeah.
Europe. You can the ease of
Yeah.
traveling around and these stuff, and little by little I'm getting the culture, getting the language. So I don't know how long I'll be here. Maybe for life. Maybe I'm gone in
Yeah.
the next 5-10 years. But so far, I'm really liking it here, despite some of the negative things that I might have said in the beginning.
But
But
hey, you have those everywhere. Like no
everywhere,
place is
definitely,
perfect. I know. And it
exactly.
I really envy you the just the proximity to all those other cities in Europe that you can
Oh yeah,
easily get to. Yeah.
oh yeah. Well, Texas is big, right? It's-
Yes, it is. It's like I have to drive 9 hours to get to a different state.
oh, to a different
That's how
state.
big it is. That's how big it is.
Okay, okay,
So
okay. That's big. Yeah.
yeah, it's a long drive and you're still in Texas. So
Uh huh.
I always say like how many countries can I cross in 9 hours in Europe?
Ooh.
Yeah, well, it's been really nice. Thank you so much for taking the time. And if I wanted to, oh, I'm realizing what we haven't talked about. Of course, I have to mention that you also have a podcast.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes. Oh yeah. I do have a podcast. You're right.
I have to ask you about that. So when did you
Right.
start that and what is it about? What's
So
it
it's
called?
yeah. So my podcast is called Pop Your Cultural Cherry. Very catchy name, according
Love
to a
it.
lot of
Very
people.
catchy name. Love it.
And I literally started a year ago. So my
Hmm.
podcast has its anniversary. I started recording last year, but I think I only released it like in January or something. And yeah, I started, and it started literally because I just noticed that all of my, as you mentioned, like expats kind of like
Hmm.
huddle together, and most of my friends are also from other countries. So I just noticed that our conversations have been evolving, and
Hmm.
it's so interesting that it actually could be useful for other people who would want to
Hmm.
move to Germany or the Netherlands. And I thought, why don't I just record these conversations and have it
And
like as a
sometimes you think
podcast
you
format?
have these conversations and you think, oh, I wish I'd taped this
Exactly.
so that other people can
Exactly.
listen. Yeah.
So that's how it all started.
Yeah.
And then I started recording just myself talking, and
Hmm.
then until I mustered the courage to like actually talk to other people, which I have been doing for quite some time now, and it was
Mm-hmm.
my first season has been more of like, whoever I can find or whoever I find interesting, but always has to do something with like Europe and Asia, or
Mm-hmm.
people living in Asian people living in Europe. But now that I got the hang of it, and now that I kind of understand like the audience as well, I think my next season I'll start really focusing on like everyday Germany. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's an interesting topic. Maybe you can talk about getting your driver's license, or
Yeah.
getting whatever your interview with the Ausländerbehörde, or like the foreign
Oh,
office,
yeah.
or something like this. Like
It'd be
things
so
like
useful. Mm-hmm.
exactly like more useful, um, and maybe also not, because before I was really kind of targeting who I had interviewed, like people with very interesting backgrounds or whatever. Now I
Mm-hmm.
just really want people's like experiences to do with like specific topics.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is
That sounds really interesting and much more approachable than, say, a website that gives you a list of things to do when you want to rent an apartment in Germany, and what I think always listening to people and people's stories is just so much more approachable.
oh yeah, for sure.
So where can people find you?
Right. So yeah, so Popular Cultural Cherry. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I'm on
Mm-hmm.
Spotify, Apple Podcast, all the like the main
Yeah,
streaming platforms. So you
great.
can find my podcast there. Unfortunately, I'm not on YouTube. I don't really show my face, so yeah.
Yeah, it's another step, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I also I leave that to other people. Also, I'm just terrified of the technical stuff that I'd have to learn to do all that.
I'm terrified from the comments that people can leave you.
Yes, yeah. Isn't it such a shame sometimes? It's like, oh, I don't want to see any comments. Yeah, yeah. It's a
Good and bad,
minefield.
huh?
Good and bad. Yeah, of course. And well,
Mm,
you need feedback because uh,
definitely.
it helps, and sometimes you get really good ideas from it too. So,
That's
but
true.
yeah, we don't like the trolls. Don't want those.
Yeah, it's a lot of that these days.
Great. Well, I'll put a link to your Instagram and podcast in the show notes, and people, so people can find you. And yeah, well, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for having me.
So that was it. Another interview with an expat in Germany. I hope you enjoyed it, took some tips from it, and maybe chuckled a couple of times hearing Lawin talk about his early days in the country. Make sure you check out his podcast. I've put the link in the show notes. I absolutely love listening to other expats' podcasts. It's always really interesting, surprising sometimes, to hear other angles and perspectives. And of course, make sure you subscribe to this podcast if you haven't done that already. Maybe leave me some feedback. Tell your friends about it. The more listeners, the merrier. And of course, find me on Instagram. I'm Overloaded Steph. And join Transcontinental Overload on Facebook. I'm pretty sure I'll post some updates regarding our move on those channels. Maybe even some pictures from our drive up there. Yes, it is a 3-day drive up to New Jersey from Austin. So I doubt that I'll manage to squeeze another episode in before my move, but well, you never know. Everything is pretty much in upheaval at the moment, so I doubt that, but my guess is the next episode will be coming from New Jersey. Wish me luck. Moving to the East Coast in the middle of winter might not be the best idea I've ever had, but there we are. It'll be a pretty intense change for us, that much is certain. And in the meantime, stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time.